We have with us Titas Stremavicius, a grandmaster from Lithuania, national champion in 2021 and medalist at European Championship. Titas, nice seeing you.
Thank you for having me.
Today you had a very nice game against Bence Pribelszky. It seemed to me that the pieces were flying here and there, and I will be glad to check the game and after that to talk with you a bit about you and your plans.
Sounds good, yeah. So it was pretty funny because as I played, my opponent surprised me on move 1. I wasn't really expecting g6, but the funny part was that on the board to my right, in the game, I think Ivan Sitko was with the black pieces. Yeah, he played the line that I actually was preparing against my opponent. So I thought it would have been really funny if we actually had the same sort of preparation and same position next to each other. Of course, it didn't happen. On move 1, my opponent played something different, but I thought it was just really funny that that was a possibility. And then, potentially when that happens, you have to sort of separate the boards and do all of that.
But so were you better prepared than the colleague?
Yes,
by your
yes,
side?
I was a little bit better prepared, but yeah, it's tough to say what would have happened, obviously. So g6 was a bit of a surprise, but I decided to play, just standard sort of take the center, and then knight bd2. I usually play this against this fianchetto. Usually the knight is already in f6, so it's a little bit more concrete, but here I thought it was still fine.
I'm playing the same. It's probably not much, but very unpleasant for black, huh?
Yeah, because you always take on e5, right? And you just maintain the symmetrical structure, you remain symmetrical position, and the bishop on g7, it's not doing anything, right? Like f5 is never really a possibility, so...
Also psychologically, because if they are playing this kind of openings, they want some fireworks,
yeah.
And then you are killing the fun.
Exactly right. So it's just try to play for 2 results, and
apologize, coming back. Yes.
He played e5, which I thought was already a little bit weird, but okay, I stick to my strategy. Sort of, I take on e5, takes on e5, and then bishop b5 check. So I was thinking that if I don't do the bishop b5 check, he's gonna play knight e7, then knight to bc6, and then play for, let's say, a5, bishop on e6, and then sort of have this nice control in the center. Maybe he doesn't have any active plans, per se.
So you are out of the preparation here?
Of course, no, of course I am.
Okay, very interesting. So, but out of preparation, already at move 5, so this was a game play from the beginning.
But I do know the ideas of the position, right, because I play the structure. So I know bishop b5 is actually a pretty common idea, just to provoke c6 so the knight cannot come to c6.
Yeah.
As maybe crazy as that sounds, you waste a tempo just to prevent the knight coming to c6.
Magnus also played this bishop b5 in this variation many times.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Magnus has played everything, right? He's played h4, rook h3 probably, right, as well. So.
Correct.
So I was pretty happy to see this. And then after knight f6, he took a long thing before playing knight f6. I started calculating this sort of massive trade sequence. And I felt like I could play, standard castles and just not do anything and sort of still claim that I'm a little bit better. But I sort of liked what I was calculating with knight takes e5, and I decided that when is the next time I'm going to get a chance to sort of go for this type of situation where like I can take on e5 and force this sort of sequence and force this position. And I thought it would be interesting last round, sort of playing for glory more than anything else. So I decided to take on e5.
Queen e7, is that an option here?
I thought knight ec4 was a move, but even f4 apparently. But yeah, knight ec4 I was calculating during the game, and I felt like
he cannot take,
he cannot take, so he'll have to play b5 probably to win it back. But then he weakens his queen side a little bit, maybe knight e5, e5 here specifically. I saw, but like let's say if he doesn't rush like castles first and then plays b5, then maybe knight e5 was an option. And again, like the queen side is a little bit weakened. The bishop comes to f3 if the pawn falls on e4. And these pawns are a little bit overextended, and my position is very healthy, and I would, always take white in that situation.
So basically, if he wants to hope for equality, he needs to take.
Yeah, and here I have an option to take on c6 on knight f7.
How much time did you spend on this one?
I spent most of my calculation time before deciding to take, right? Because it would be kind of silly to take.
And then did you check once again, or just believe your initial calculation?
I more or less believe my initial calculation.
Okay.
Not really double checking. Although knight f7, as computer is indicating, is stronger, which is fine. I'm not a computer. No shocker there. But I didn't really like that position that much because I thought the king on f2 was a little bit loose. And here I saw exactly knight takes c6, knight f2, knight d1, knight d8. And here if I take on f7, he has knight e3, and I think I'm in trouble.
Knight takes off if... Okay. Knight e4.
Okay, I'm not in trouble, I guess, but you know, it seemed unpleasant because c2 is hanging.
Of course.
We check, and you know,
The computer says knight e4, knight c2.
Yeah,
king d1.
This is a little bit too complicated for my
I mean,
ability.
for humans.
Yeah, and apparently it's still a little bit better for white, but I didn't like the sort of chaos that would happen. And I suggest that I could simply take with the bishop on d1. I did see the castles move, which I thought was interesting.
Ah, I see, very good.
It's like a positional pawn sacrifice, sort of, because I will be a pawn up after. I thought I would take on f7 most likely. Excuse me. And then I am a pawn up, but my pieces are kind of uncoordinated. I can't castle myself. He has this strong bishop on g7. You know, knight c5 could come, knight c6, knight a5, knight c4 could come at some point as well. And it's actually quite unclear, I thought, because also if we go back one move, I was initially calculating this because I didn't see knight e3 at first. So I thought, if we go back a couple moves, yeah, I take on d8, yeah, here. So when I fought knight f7 in this position, I felt like maybe he would castle as well. But here I would take with the king on d1, and now he can't take with the rook because of bishop c4.
Aha, nice.
But then I spotted knight e3, and of course then this line becomes obsolete after knight e3, so I had to go for it via the other move order. But I also thought that castles is kind of a tough move to spot. And I mean, it was a bit of a hope chess situation where I was hoping my opponent wouldn't spot it.
It's also morning, so...
Yeah, morning round.
The round was in the morning.
And I felt like, yeah, after king d8, the problem is that, you know, black's king is actually quite weak, even though with the queens off the board. You know, it's in the center, and it can be like harassed with 10p potentially in the next couple of moves.
So basically, you need to understand that you'll probably lose a pawn anyway.
Most likely, yes.
So let's try to lose the pawn in the best possible scenario, yeah?
Exactly.
It's not easy. I mean, you say you can just hope for keeping the pawn and making a draw.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I can also misplay, you know, it's, you know, not guaranteed that I'm going to play all the best moves. But yeah, knight e4 I think is pretty logical. Knight c6 also seemed pretty fine. And here I was calculating some knight g5 moves, but I didn't really like them because of bishop d4 check and bishop c4. And then I felt that my king is sort of like, now black is kind of the one who has the initiative, right? Like, you know, my pieces are on the first rank, his are developed. And it's very, again, concrete, very sort of difficult to see if I can untangle in time. So I didn't really like this, and I thought c3 was a bit slow, but I felt like it's better than allowing this initiative. So, you know, gotta play a slow move, you know, if the alternative
Seems like
is
a good
not
move, and it's not easy. I mean, okay, after you see it, okay, I understand it's good.
Yeah.
But during the game, it's not easy to make it because you want something faster. Yeah,
you want something faster. Yeah.
You can be concerned that your dynamic may
disappear. Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Initiative, you know, it lasts as long as, you know, you create threats.
I remember that one of my trainers, Valentin Stoica, told me that actually it was Mihail Marin, that initiative is like a beautiful lady. You have her, but you can lose it very quickly. So yeah, if you don't take care of her, you just lose it. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So c3, I thought bishop c4 was interesting, even though computer doesn't like it. Or I guess he changed its mind a little bit after I actually played on the board.
Okay, not the best, the best lines of the computer.
And I wasn't sure. Yeah, again, I have this bishop e2 trick, which was what I played in the game, but it's a little bit of a different version, right? Because my bishop is on g5, maybe a little bit misplaced. And
also bishop d5 with some tempo.
Yeah, and I actually don't win a pawn, right? Like I won in the game the pawn on f7. Here I just potentially, you know, will end up with two bishops. I mean, it's still very complicated. You know, tough to say what's going to happen in the next couple of moves.
But it's definitely you are in the right fit.
Yeah, I felt like I should be. Even though I was considering some other move, I think it's instead of, maybe I was thinking rook e1, but which is also, I guess, playable. But it's a different sort of type of position, because I saw that after king c7, I have knight g5, and this is very unpleasant. I thought he has to play rook a8. And just sort of
rook
a8, yeah, or
and just suffer, yeah.
Just suffer, yeah. I guess I can even take on f7. Yeah, I was initially only concerned, like calculating 96, but I guess I can even take the pawn.
96, f takes c6. Also, this is very unpleasant, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think he missed this very nice move, bishop e2.
Yeah, he definitely missed this. I think it's actually the only move potentially that, you know, gives a big advantage for white.
Should be.
And luckily for him, he's not losing on the spot. If he didn't have bishop d5, I think it's just immediately game over.
I mean, if he has to play something like this, yeah.
It's, yeah, like active rook, opposite color. His king is still weak, by the way. Like, I can still, you know, potentially launch an attack against the king on b6 with the bishop on e3, and, you know, it's a pawn down. My rook is active, h7 is hanging, you know, opposite color bishops actually increase my chances to for an attack. Then,
and you already have an extra pawn. So
I already have an extra pawn.
All
yes.
the advantages in the world.
Yeah, and he was also getting low on time, so exactly, like, it's, you know, all hell is breaking loose for black here. But he does have bishop d5, and I didn't like c4 because I felt like he sort of, again, gets this bishop d4 check, his bishop becomes longer.
That would be interesting to play c3 and to move after c4, yeah?
Yeah, but it kind of defeats the purpose of c3 in the first place a little bit, because c3 was to limit the scope of the bishop, and now the bishop is, you know, again, a menace.
You need to be a machine not to think about the past, yeah? Just who knows about the past?
Yeah, but I also didn't see a concrete sort of reason for me to do this, because I can take on f7 again, but this bishop is very strong, and I still win the pawn, but basically I activated his bishop from g7, you know, because it doesn't make sense on the board. Like, why would I do this? So instead I just decided that I think it's a pretty healthy pawn, and I can take on f7. And after rook h8, I was firstly calculating bishop g4, but I decided to play bishop f3 because I felt it was just, you know, simpler, sort of try to take pieces off the board. And you know, try to convert my pawn in that manner. Apparently, so bishop f7 was still a move, but I mean, again, I think it's a pretty healthy pawn, all things considered. And
yeah. And okay, another day at the office, 1-2 more hours to work to convert it.
Well, I mean, again, he was low on time at this point, so I don't know if it would last, you know, necessarily that long, but you know, it's still definitely a difficult technical task ahead.
The king is here to protect against the three guys.
But it's also unclear, you know, to go for this because h7 is hanging already, right? Like, my rook is also pretty active, right? So you sort of have to evaluate this as being the best of the, you know, sort of...
Of the worst situation.
Yeah, of the worst situation, the best of the worst situation, exactly. So, so it's not easy for him, you know, so I don't really fault him for, you know, playing what he played, because he also gets the rook to e2 at least in this situation. I did give a check on f4, but it was maybe unnecessary, just, you know...
Okay, it makes, I mean, for a human, it makes a lot of sense what he did.
Yeah, I was gonna do it anyway, so yeah, I'm here. Okay, rook b1 is a bit ugly, excuse me, but it's not, you know, there's no initiative for black to be had because the bishop on g7 is dead. Knight doesn't have any moves. You know, you can't put magically a rook on c2, the other rook on from a to c2 to you know, get some threats. So it's just, yeah, very healthy pawn, and actually I think white also has more potential for creating threats.
He tried a5.
Yeah, here I wasn't sure what to do. I just played a4 because I felt like, you know, computer doesn't like it, but, you know, it is what it is. I felt like just to limit my opponent's options, you know, to sort of prevent him from playing a4 potentially.
Knight a5 maybe, yeah.
Yeah, like, so, you know, just limit counterplay basically in this situation.
Okay, I think it's very logical. I mean, the computer is a computer.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, I was very happy to see rook e4 because I saw this more or less forcing line starting with knight e6. And if he takes bishop e3 check, king a6, and rook f7, and now b7 is hanging, my rook is active, you know, and it's just basically game over. And
so perhaps he didn't really believe in the position, yeah?
Yeah, I mean...
Also low on time.
Yeah, absolutely.
He managed to put more resistance in the lost, let's say, endgame.
Yeah, exactly right, exactly right. Okay, I don't know if it deserves a double X clam, but, you know, again, just, you know...
And he
resigned after h7, yes, because it's a mating threat and material is going to drop, I think, in the next move already. So,
okay,
yeah, good finish, good finish.
Yeah, good finish, and I think it's a nice game.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty happy with, well, yesterday's loss. Actually, I was also pretty happy with. I was most unhappy with my game against Max Warmerdunk because I was just much worse, basically, in the early middle game with white, and I was lost, and you know, I saved the draw, but I actually think I played pretty well in the last 3 rounds, I believe.
But in general, I think you had a good tournament. Okay, it was the decisive game yesterday against Idani Puya, and the winner would play for the first place, like Idani is playing right now. Okay, unfortunately, you cannot win all the tournaments, so this time it was you who lost, and okay, you are playing for one of the prizes, but that's all, yeah?
Yeah, it was also very refreshing just to be playing in Romania again. I'm very happy because last month was just complete misery. I played in 2 tournaments in Slovakia and France, and it was exceedingly hot. The conditions, the playing conditions in Slovakia also were pretty bad. There was no air conditioning in the playing venue, so it was just sort of, I was just happy to be here in a way.
We are very happy to find out this and to have you. How was in general your experience other than the playing hall?
Great. No, I mean everything was great. I like again the weather was very good. I went for some walks. I actually walked a couple times back to the hotel, even if it's a 45-minute walk. You know, it was very pleasant. Yeah, the nature is nice here as well in Arad. The prices also.
Yeah, okay, these are.
So everything is really great. Yeah, food was great. Everything was. I really have no complaints. I also will point out. Okay, this might sound a little bit weird, but I really appreciate the toilet situation in this tournament. So usually in tournaments there is like 1 bathroom for women and men, and there's like 5 stalls or 4 stalls or whatever. And here actually, the organizers provided, a nice number of sort of. There was never a line, is what I'm trying to say. For the restroom, so
it may seem funny, but as a person who is involved in organization, these particular problems in chess are really difficult to solve. Like
Absolutely.
to have enough rooms for toilet, to have silence during the tournament,
yeah.
to make sure that players don't have access to the phones, and there are separate places for spectators and separate places for the players. This is much harder than to expect, because usually in these normal events, playing hall for weddings or for other events, they are not designed for chess. They are designed for fun or for spectacles. So yeah. Great. Is it your first time in Romania?
No, it's my second time. I was here, I think, 2 years ago.
Also in Arad?
No, in Cluj-Napoca, I believe.
In Cluj 2 years ago. But what was there?
Standard classical, yeah, one of the Grand Prix, I think it was.
Maybe in Sebeș.
Maybe in Sebeș, I'm
maybe
not
in Sebeș,
sure.
yeah.
I remember I was flying into Cluj.
And then I think you're flying into Cluj, and then you took the car to Sebeș.
Yeah, it was like 100 kilometers or something, maybe 80. I don't remember exactly. So okay, my mistake. But it was also very nice there because it was like a very small town. If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it was Sebeș for sure.
So nothing was happening there. You just walk outside and no one is there. Like no cars, it's just like so peaceful, So it was also
very
a nice
different
experience.
than the other cities where the Grand Prix are hosted. I think Sebeș was the smallest.
Yeah. But I like it. I mean, it's great for chess, right? No distractions, sort of no noise. It's nice.
Sometimes I'm telling my friends a lot of stories when I was a chess player, and I'm telling them that I went to many cities in the world, but actually I didn't go to many cities in the world. I just go to that hotel and that playing hall.
Exactly.
So I suppose it's the same.
I've seen many hotels. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't see many cities, but many hotels.
Yeah.
So I understand that you studied in the USA.
Yes.
How is your life other than being a professional chess player?
Yes, so I'm currently finishing my application for a green card. I should get it hopefully in the next 2 months or so, and then I plan to go back to the States, to Dallas most likely. And for now, the plan is to play poker professionally.
Oh, very interesting.
Sort of shift my focus, from one game to another game.
So you are both a chess and a professional chess and poker player.
Not a professional poker player yet, but I'm planning to become one basically. Take it more seriously. I've played quite a bit in the past, but sort of more recreationally than anything else. But yeah, to try and focus more on the subject and then we'll see. I do have a degree in finance as well.
Okay.
Worst case scenario, you can always fall back on that.
Worst case scenario, yeah. I mean
but I would prefer not to. Like I also think in the States there's also a great market for chess coaching.
Of course.
Also the prices there are really nice. Like you get paid quite much better than you would in Europe, an hourly rate. From what I heard, at least, I haven't had much experience yet, but it's always also an option. So that's probably what I would ideally do, but we'll see what happens.
I mean, basically, you have to choose between a fun life in chess, poker, or a boring life.
Well,
stable in finance.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like chess is necessarily that fun you know, it's fun when you're winning, and poker as well, right? It's fun when you're winning, but it's the worst thing in the world when you're losing. You know, it's imagine like you play, let's say for poker specifically 10 hours and you lose thousands of dollars. So you lost the whole day, you lost money. You're worse off in every single way.
Agree.
So it does get tough, potentially, but
both chess and poker are psychologically very difficult jobs to handle.
Yeah, exactly. So it's sort of a give and take, right? Like there's some parts that are appealing, right? You have the freedom, the sort of leisurely experience. At least it feels like it, compared to a real sort of office or even field work, whatever it is. But I mean, there's also potential sort of setbacks and pitfalls, so it's always, again, give and take, basically. So.
Nice. Also, the Olympiad is coming soon, and I understand that you are representing your country.
Yes, I will be playing for Lithuania, hopefully not on board one, as the coach was implying, because I'm only the 4th highest rated player right now, or maybe even 5th, I'm not sure.
4th rated?
Yeah, but the coach of the team has this idea that, we need to sort of we need guys on the last boards who can actually score points, basically.
And he did tell you that?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it was implied. It was heavily implied. We finished actually last year. We finished 10th in the Olympiad with starting number like 30 something,
which was amazing result.
Yeah, exactly. And our last 2 boards just won the last 4 games. Like against like France, Germany, Croatia, and Ukraine, something like that. So
very strong teams.
Yeah, obviously it was like maybe once in a lifetime sort of thing. But
and you played?
Yes, I was on board 2.
What board? Second board. Okay.
Board 2, yeah.
So your coach makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the problem.
Yeah, it's based on past experiences, but also the other guys improved. Over the last 2 years, I sort of plateaued a little bit. So it's a different team, even if it's the same core. It's people change basically. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, but I hope it's not board 1.
We are waiting to see you playing on top boards at the Olympiad. Okay, it was very nice having you here, Titas. If you want to tell to the spectators anything in the end.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be back in Romania, and hopefully I'll be back again next year for the Grand Prix series.
Thank you very much.